My name is Justin Decloux, and I'm here today with
Will Sloan.
And you are listening to the Important Cinema Club. And today, we are tackling the political thriller and the works of Costa-Gavras.
Any resemblance to actual events, to persons living or dead in this podcast is not accidental. It's intended.
Wow, we're starting with a bang for a filmmaker that you mention his name and people go, Zed.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Maybe missing.
I say Mad City.
Oh, yeah, we love Mad City. Dustin Hoffman, John Travolta together at last.
Yeah.
But, I was fascinated going through his filmography and knowing, how powerful that one movie is, Mad City, of course, why people don't talk about him more. Now, he is a mainstay on, Criterion. His films come out. You see, State of Siege is released on disc. Missing is released on disc. But I don't hear that many Gavras hardliners that are I love everything that he does, and this is why.
Yeah, I mean, this is an unscientific survey, but when you go on Letterboxd, the app that I use most, when you look at his directorial credits ranked by popularity, in the first row is a movie called Lumiere, which is one of those omnibus films.
Yeah, that has 100 credits.
Michael Haneke and John Boorman and a million other people directed it. And you can gauge the relative popularity of a director by how high are the omnibus films ranked in their Letterboxd popularity.
Had you ever been curious about the rest of his filmography?
Frankly, no. And I'm sorry to say that, because I should have been more curious about the rest of his filmography. Obviously, I'd seen Zed, but that's the only one I had seen. I think I filed the rest of it away in the eat your vegetables file of my brain.
But Zed is so immediate and passionate that I remember when I saw that film, I went and checked out a bunch of his other films at the time. I remember sitting in iSource Cinema, working, no one was coming in. I just sat and watched Zed on the local computer and just had a blast with it. I was like, I gotta see his other films.
What compelled you about Costa-Gavras? Because I think another thing that made me resist him, or not even resist, just made me not think about him, was he felt like one of those filmmakers who was frozen in amber in the 60s and 70s. He felt like somebody who, again, this is not me thinking consciously. It's just he felt like somebody who, I guess, was not in the current conversation.
I think it's just that Zed is so energetic in the way that it presents stuff that is gripping enough for me to want to explore his filmography. And what I discovered very quickly is, he got rid of those notions fairly quickly in his filmmaking style.
Well, at least up to and including 1982's Missing, I think it's very, very present.
I don't know about that compared to Zed. The energy of the film?
Oh, but I would say, I was thinking more the ideological power.
Oh, well, yeah, that's different. Yeah. I mean, I think that ideological drive is present through most of his filmography, and that it's just in different ways that he tackles it. I really got interested in him again because I showed Shock Troops, his second feature film, during a summer movie marathon, and this is one that has fallen completely through the cracks. It's a big World War II men on a mission film that's produced by Harry Saltzman, the guy who's mostly known for doing the James Bond pictures. And you could not get a more energetic, immediate World War II film during the period that it was made. It's the work of such a hungry young filmmaker with something to prove.
I think what I should have understood from having seen Zed in the distant past was he's a filmmaker, a capital P political filmmaker who at his best was brilliantly engaged with certain questions that are at the core of all political movies. Chief among them, what proportion of conveying the message speaks to the head and what proportion speaks to the heart? And in his films, a lot of it is heart. These films are not didactic. And in fact, though he clearly has left-wing sympathies, his films don't spend a lot of time getting into the actual nitty-gritty of the specific ideological and factional disputes. They're interested in power. They're interested in the abuse of power and the obfuscation of it.
Some of his films, like State of Siege, does play on a pretty big canvas, and that one is interesting because you can feel him grappling post-Zed with how do I present something that is not through the prism of an individual and is more through collective groups. And so it's very novelistic in the way that you approach it. And then there's kind of a drilling down further on in his filmography. He's still tackling difficult subjects, but you almost feel him going but I want to speak to a wider audience and a more wider bent.
Yeah, and I mean, I think he's thinking about that with so often his focus on individuals and stories that are about the education of idealists. You know, there's a push-pull in the films, I think, that's very effective of the relationship between the general and the specific. A lot of the films are based on or inspired by real historical incidents. They're obviously grounded in actual times and places. Nevertheless, as he's the first to say, they're not documentaries. Most of them slightly obfuscate or won't necessarily mention the specific place that they're in, or they won't underline it too much. And it becomes these stories of the education of idealists who, in whatever system they're in, and the system can be very set from country to country, no matter what the alleged ideology of the people in power is. It's people who think the system is fundamentally just. And then as the film goes on, they realize it isn't.
Now, a lot of people have said that Gavras is kind of the one that kickstarted the political thriller in the way that we understand it today. And watching his films, I was trying to parse, okay, that could be true. But what's funny about the political thriller today is it's almost completely absent of any kind of politics.
Yeah, I was going to say, what even is a political thriller? I mean,
it's I would say people in office that are going through things. That's pretty much it.
It's Captain America: Civil War.
Yes.
I mean, I know that one of the novelties of Zed when it came out in 1969 was, you know, there had been certain films that were sort of similar to it before in the West, like The Manchurian Candidate, which was not a box office success. But this was a movie that showed that you could do it in a really propulsive way and have it be a huge success and have it, resonate with the ambient feelings.
And like Zed is a film, watching it, I was very aware of why was this popular? Like, what did it speak to the audiences that were watching it that like kind of took from it in a way that it's very difficult making a film that is so in your face about a political movement and getting a reaction out of the audience. Well, unless you're speaking to an audience that is already sympathetic to whatever cause you're presenting.
Well, it was released in 1969, and as that reliable bellwether of mainstream opinion, Roger Ebert, said, it's about the assassination 6 years ago of a leader of the political opposition in Greece. It's also about all the rest of them. For Americans, it's about the My Lai massacre, the killing of Fred Hampton, the Bay of Pigs. It is no more about Greece than the Battle of Algiers was about Algeria.
And like these kind of movies, I do watch them in a little bit of frustration in that, like, don't we know this shit? Like, we know all this stuff of all the movies that he makes. And it's like, so how do you make it compelling when you, and these movies are compelling.
Oh yeah.
I'm not lying about, especially Zed and the way that it plays out and just, it's energetic and you're like on the edge of your seat the entire time that it's playing.
Well, for the ones that I watched, I think a lot of it has to do with the human scaled quality of the stories. They're human scaled stories set against huge and unknowable backdrops of fear and corruption. And we only know as much as the main characters know at any given time. I do think there are some kind of remarkable things in his backstory. So he was born in Greece in 1933, and his father was part of a left-wing Greek resistance movement that actually fought the Nazis. And like everyone who's on the right side of history, after the war, he was branded
demonized.
A premature anti-fascist. He's a communist. He was blacklisted by the government. And when Costa-Gavras tried to apply to study film in the United States,
they're like, nope, because your father was a communist.
He was turned away. Nevertheless, he did do film production in Europe. He became an assistant to René Clément, Jacques Demy, among other celebrated names.
And he worked his way up in the industry. Like, he made a short film. His first film, The Sleeping Car Murders, is kind of proto-giallo in the way that it plays out.
So it's a claustrophobic train set thriller. Have you seen it?
Well, okay. It kind of is, but it's almost a bunch of episodic mini-movies featuring a bunch of very famous French stars that kind of like sweep through it. I have seen it. I don't think it quite works. I watched it after I saw Shock Troops, and that one kind of blew me away. That was like, I love Shock Troops.
He was quite apologetic about this early one in later interviews.
Really?
Nevertheless, it did unite him with Yves Montand, who became an important figure in Zed in 1969.
Now, Zed, this is the one that blew up. This is the one that defines his entire career. And it almost feels like one that for most of his career, he was trying to prove that he could do something that wasn't Zed. And I say that only because you can see this in filmmakers' careers when they get pigeonholed in a specific thing, and they're like, okay, but I can do more than this. Now, unfortunately, that often translates to the thing that was so powerful about the original film that blew up is kind of lost as you go through. But he never did lose that kind of political left-wing fury in all of the movies that he's tackled, even though, like I said, it broadened and by consequence got watered down a little bit.
I do think that this one, Zed, it's the peak of him as a political filmmaker because it kind of has everything. It has everything that made him an effective political filmmaker. As you said, his left-wing sympathies are implicit. Nevertheless, they're more implicit than they are foregrounded. The story is told through bureaucrats.
Yes, through multiple different people that go through the event as it happens.
And it places you in the point of view of those people who are kind of surprised that society is not what we're told it is. I mean, the movie comes strong out of the gate with those opening credits, the powerful music, the powerful editing. And the first 20 or so minutes of the film establish this sense of just general unease. There's a right-wing government and a social democratic opposition. The movie was inspired by the actual assassination of a social democratic politician named Gregorios Lambrakis. Apologies to our Greek listeners, who I'm sure know much more about this than I do, which was dismissed as a traffic accident, quote unquote, when it happened.
And the way that he builds the movie is using all the tools of a suspense thriller.
Yeah, so the first 20 minutes or so, all the action comes to a head in this political rally. And, the reigning right-wing government is doing everything it can to stop this rally from happening. It's saying it's putting pressure on the convention hall that's going to host the rally. No, they don't have a permit. They can't do it, which of course is bullshit. Nobody's ever had a permit to do
that kind of stuff. Yeah.
But nevertheless, then they have to go to...
And they know that they're going to be attacked. They're like, we need police protection. We're going to be attacked. And they're like, no, you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah. And there's this general sense in the air. There's violence in the air, although, not always violence actually happening. But the police are angling for a fight. There's anger in the protests on both sides.
Now, this is a film that often gets compared to the Battle of Algiers. And the thing that I'll say, one of the big differences, the Battle of Algiers is a much more complex film. In Zed, the people that are bad are bad. Like, they're bad. It's more of peeling away the layer of, like, how did this happen, more than like, oh, I feel sympathetic of why this is happening.
I mean, in both this and Missing, I think the films take place against this backdrop of ambient badness. I mean, apologies, that's so inarticulately worded, but it's like...
I mean, yeah, it's a base thing.
There's an ambient badness, and then there are all these figures between you and the badness who you're not so sure if you can trust. And they're telling you, trust me, I'm not bad. I just really need you to do this thing.
Well, this is the way that any kind of horrible thing happens in our world, is that the people who are making the decisions often don't think they're the ones who are at fault. It's somebody else down the line, or even though that they make a decision to put it on someone else.
Right. And there are all these layers of bureaucracy here to basically insulate everybody from responsibility. Although eventually, when push comes to shove, it becomes undeniable. Basically what they'll say is, yeah, you fucking had it coming.
So, and the thing about Zed, which could be seen as a weakness, is that there is a big bad in this movie. Like one figure who's like, oh, he is kind of like the preening, cause of all this, to the point that the film, in the way that it's structured, where the second half is basically Jean-Louis Trintignant, who's going around trying to figure out what happened by interviewing people.
Right. And he plays the prosecutor who is basically told by authorities the death happens under very mysterious circumstances. Basically, a three-wheeled vehicle runs by, whacks the politician over the head with a brick or a pipe or something, and he falls down.
The authorities are like, oh, he just got hit by a car. If anything, it's manslaughter. It was accidental.
But because it was so obviously a cover-up, they go to Trintignant and say, you have to investigate this, but to be clear, this was probably manslaughter at worst. He was hit by a three. They're basically telling him, find this conclusion. And then as the movie goes along, it becomes a procedural of this education of this idealist as he realizes what's actually going on.
And this is why the film is as powerful as it is that it's exciting. It's a detective going through suspects, and the way that Gavras presents it is like, you get a little bit of information there, you get a little bit of information there. He loves to do a move where you will be disoriented in a cut because you don't know what you're seeing, and then you will fill it in as you go along and be like, oh, this is who we're talking to, or this is a flashback that we're seeing, and then it all comes together in a way that's satisfying. But then he does the move that he does a lot in his films. You then have an epilogue, which is like, oh, but none of this was worth anything.
Right, and you can go on Wikipedia and find out what happened in the the Greek political situation after this.
And you even get like, there's a character just talking to you is like, this is what happened. Everyone died under mysterious circumstances, et cetera, which is, something about this movie is you're bringing attention to something that is real. And I think that has power in it, to the point that some of the real life characters in this movie then came to political power years later, and I think off the back of this film probably did a lot of it.
That's fascinating. You know what's also interesting about the movie structurally? It becomes Rashomon in its second half.
Like, what happened.
You already know what happened. Exactly.
Yes.
You've already seen the version of truth, but then you see it again several different ways. Like, it's sort of it flips the whole meaning of Rashomon, and it turns truth into this thing that is constantly obscured.
And I think that, like, he has such a great perspective in this movie of presenting people who are not aware of everything that's going on, and they get trapped in these webs thinking that the people in charge will give them the opportunities they need or the escape hatch, not realizing that, no, the people above you in any kind of political position will just step right over you if it allows them to not have to sweat it for 1 hour.
It's interesting that this movie and also Missing are as suspenseful as they are, given that, as you say, it's a foregone conclusion basically in the first 20 minutes of both movies, what has happened and what will happen.
But it's just the idea of, will anybody, especially in Zed, face any kind of repercussion for these things?
And will our surrogate character end up in the same position,
And, watching these movies today is like, everyone would get off scot-free. No one cares about any of this. Like, they're too powerful.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, I don't want to belabor comparisons to the current moment, but in all this talk of resurgent fascism, I did feel some resonances. I'm trivializing what happens in the movie Missing, but Missing takes place in 1973 after the military coup that overthrew the socialist president Salvador Allende and led to Pinochet's dictatorship. And the first 20 minutes of that movie, again, is a very ground level view of the conflict where you're not, you are an American tourist in Chile.
Yeah. And the decision the movie makes is it never really pulls back to give you a further context about what's going on.
And so, you're sitting there in the restaurant and you're hearing gunshots outside. As the movie goes on, you're starting to see more and more corpses on the ground. You're seeing trucks full of, thugs basically from the military, looting places. And there's this encroaching sense of like, wait, nobody has announced that this isn't safe anymore. And if there's anything, again, not to draw an exact parallel between the current moment, but I think we're all feeling something right now where it's kind of like, the guardrails aren't on anymore.
No.
So what exactly is going to happen right now? That sense of unease.
That feeling of, in these films, that the people in power, there's not really anyone to hold them in any kind of check, and anything that you would think would happen, it isn't happening. But Missing, which is a film that he made in 1982, so after Zed was a huge hit, he played in the same kind of sandbox for a while. There's The Confessional, which I haven't seen. There's State of Siege, which is the idea of Zed, but spread over a bigger tapestry, and it's also a proto-Missing in that it's about foreign organizations coming into a different country and installing, the mechanisms for dictatorships to rise.
Right.
In State of Siege, in particular, it's about Yves Montand plays a guy who's like, oh, I'm just a good guy coming to help, when in reality, he's teaching torture techniques to the soldiers and there's this is a brutal scene where a guy is just being tortured completely nude in front of hundreds of soldiers, and it just plays out as every different way to torture him. Oh, you put it on his testicles, you put it on his lips, you put it on his eye. That is a kind of immediacy that these films could do and are still shocking to this day. And it's a kind of immediacy as Costa-Gavras went through his career, I feel is kind of being seeped out as he becomes more prestigious with the kind of pictures that he's making.
So what do you think of Missing from 1982 then? Because
I like it.
Because it doesn't have the same... I was kind of blown away by this movie, honestly.
Really?
I thought it was great. But it doesn't have the same visceral...
feeling of Zed.
The pace is slower. It's a more measured film, but it has this just seeping sense of unease and dread that I think crescendos throughout the entire film,
but without ever reaching a boiling point.
Yes,
because it can't. Jack Lemmon stars in the film as a man who is an important businessman. He's conservative. He comes to Chile looking for his son.
Yes, and something important happens with the point of view in this movie early on. The first 10 or 20 minutes, it opens in Chile basically as the military junta is starting up. there are troops, there are helicopters everywhere. And there's this small group of American tourists who are there, led by Charlie, played by John Shea, and his wife Beth, played by Sissy Spacek. And Charlie overhears somebody, another American say something like, the Americans are involved in this in some way.
Yeah, he's at a dinner, and basically an American's like, yep, I've come down from so-and-so.
To do some business, And basically just hearing this has doomed him. That's what we find out early on.
But he also worked for a left-wing newspaper, and that there's stuff that Jack Lemmon doesn't know about his son. He basically shows up in the country to be like, I need to get my loser son out of here who hasn't worked a day in his life. And the whole film is about him discovering what was going on through a procedural kind of way. At the same time, also coming to terms with, what, America helped? Raise this right-wing government? How could they?
Yeah, and so the human story is him and Sissy Spacek, who have a fractious relationship early on in the film. Jack Lemmon loves his son, but is also quite skeptical of his left-wing commitments, doesn't really like their marriage. Nevertheless, the two of them are become unlikely partners. And again, it's a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, we know where this is going.
Yeah, but the movie becomes a series of scenes of Jack Lemmon and Sissy Spacek going from office to office, building to building, having very polite and civil conversations with various American representatives.
And to be clear, the American representatives know what happened to his son.
Yes.
But they're just not going to tell him.
And as the film goes along, and Jack Lemmon is incredible in this film.
Yeah, so Jack Lemmon is always like the put upon kind of like Meebish guy. And to put him in the position is perfect here because he is put upon, but he's also the ugly American who in this situation thinks that like, oh, well, I can solve this. Like I just come here, everyone just acts as you're supposed to in a civil society, and we can get to the end of this.
But without spoiling too much, the point is, the Americans have backed this coup.
Yeah.
And
we know this.
And also, any American who gets in its way.
Now, how public was this during the time of its release?
I think, I gotta say, I'm not Mr. Chilean history here, but I think it's basically, it's known for all who care to know it, that America was behind.
I mean, if you look online now, every article will be about that. That is not, and this was a movie.
But was it on the news every single day that America installed Pinochet? Like, no, I don't think it was.
And this movie made enough of an uproar that one of the U.S. Consulates that's in the film, he's not named, but he's like, that's clearly me. I'm named in the book.
And he
sued for like, I think $150 million.
And it was dismissed.
It was just, of course it was. Yeah. He's not named in the movie.
That's right. But even if you know that this was a US-backed coup, I do think like ideology is a hard thing to get around. So for example, I was reading one of the Criterion essays for this film, and it's a very good essay, by the way. But there was something in it that grinded my gears just a little bit. The writer said, how secret does secret police have to be and how much secrecy is necessary? The American ambassador says to Ed Horman, that's the Jack Lemmon character, let's level with each other, sir. If you hadn't been personally involved in this unfortunate incident, you'd be sitting at home, complacent and more or less oblivious to all of this. Ed Horman doesn't argue. And then the writer goes on to say, and the movie invites us not, alas, to disagree, since great regions of ignorance and complacency constitute the fullest context for the film, but to ask what follows from this obliviousness. The ambassador also makes clear that his job is to protect American interests, not individual Americans, and we can wonder how prevalent and acceptable this priority is, and whether it is not exactly upside down. And
not acceptable at all.
Okay,
not acceptable at all.
Yeah, you got it. So I'm reading that, and I'm thinking, yes, but let's go a step further. What are American interests?
Yeah.
And whose interests are they?
Oh, are you talking about the mines that they have in the country that the Americans want to take control of? Looking at the news as we're recording this right now, it seems like something very similar is going on.
Like, why is the subjugation of other people a necessary conduit for American interests? Are those your interests as an American?
No.
Are those your individual interests? We're not Americans, but you know what I mean.
Maybe
we're part of the American empire.
This is the thing about this movie, is that there is no sympathetic portrayal of any of the high political figures in this.
Right.
And it's completely believable in that they're just trying to subvert, it's so funny that they have no plan to get Jack Lemmon off their back other than, can we string him along until he just gives up?
And eventually there comes to be a point, and this is a bit of a spoiler, but there comes a point where they have him over to the office and they say, good news, your son got out alive. He's in Switzerland right now. You're going to be reunited with him eventually.
And Jack Lemmon's like, you're lying. And they're like, you know what? You got me.
Yeah. But it's like anything to get him out of the office.
Anything to just get him.
And then later on, if he calls back and says, hey, where's my son? They could say, don't know.
Yeah.
He came out to
He was
Switzerland.
supposed to. Like, he
Yeah.
was supposed to. Yeah. So at that point, it would be out of their hands
Yeah.
that, like, he's somewhere else. They even talk about that is that you see a flashback of two other Americans that got kidnapped, and one of them is missing, and they're like, oh, he got out, we let him out, and later on they're like, oh, yep, we found his body though.
Yeah.
But like Jack Lemmon's character, it's made very clear he would not be going through this or have this much access if he wasn't a powerful businessman. They're like,
Yes.
we're getting a lot of calls from America, like, so we have to continue to basically, drag you along because you are in some form of power that it never makes specific.
Just one last thing I like about this movie. I like how it conveys the rapid normalization of just death and brutality that happens. And I mean, we see this on the news right now. Right now, we are quickly used to seeing daily updates about like mass slaughter overseas that the American empire is paying for. Mm-hmm. And when you're not living in those times, or you're not hearing about those things on a daily basis, you think, well, how do people live during those times? How is that possible? And the answer is, you very quickly become inured to it.
You have to.
Yeah.
Because what are you going to do as an individual with these giant things other than everything that you can within the situation? But you cannot, like, without group effort, change anything.
And I think this movie does a very good job conveying, like, living your life while conditions are steadily worsening around you, and how, like the frog in the boiling pot of water, you just sort of...
And I think it works that way because it never does reach that fever pitch of like, Jack Lemmon's never like, give me back my son. Or
give me back my son.
Yes.
Mel Gibson,
Classic.
Ransom, coming this Christmas.
I was thinking of Taken. No, but No,
that was the guy.
I was forgetting the classic Ron Howard film.
Yeah.
At the end, the last thing Jack Lemmon says is so like weak, it means nothing. He's like, I'm gonna sue you. It's like, cool. Like, you are not more powerful than the American government. There's nothing you can do in this situation.
Yeah.
All right, so
can we talk about Mad City?
Let's talk about Mad City.
Wait, how did we get to Mad City?
Well, so I wanted to pick one that was like the Costa-Gavras American film.
And I want to know, like, between Missing and Mad City, what happened?
So he made a lot of like very, heart in the right place. Like, let's deal with American racism in the Tom Berenger film Betrayed, which I did watch. It's pretty good. There are some leaps of logic. You know what? I should have made you watch this one because it's, speaking of Mel Gibson, our favorite screenwriter, Joe Esterhaus. Yeah, he wrote Betrayed, one of the few films that one of his scripts was actually made from. He also made Hannah Kay, a film about Israel and Palestine. He did some Holocaust pictures as well, like The Music Box, and there's another one in there. So he did all the like big... basically what falls into prestige drama thing. Awards bait, if you will. Even though, again, his heart is in the right place, but he's working with some systems that demand something very specific from him. Even Missing, I was very surprised to see that it was a John Peters and Peter Gruber film.
Wow.
Where was the giant spider? That's what I'm asking.
But Mad City from 1997. I mean, this is classic video store slop.
Never saw it.
No,
me neither. I probably passed the VHS hundreds of times.
No, same. And this movie was also, I mean, it was released at the height of post-Pulp Fiction Travolta mania, and it still flopped.
Mm-hmm. You mean the Dustin Hoffman heads didn't come down to see Mad City?
I mean, when I was so excited to watch this, and when I pressed play, it was like, isn't this nice? We got a Costa-Gavras movie that has 90s studio sheen,
But like, at the end of the day, the movie has so little to say for a subject that has been tackled 100 times so much better than this.
I couldn't believe how limp this movie was, coming off the other two that I watched.
It's got no bite. It's got nothing. The film is basically John Travolta takes a museum filled with children's hostage because he wants his job back, but things go out of control very quickly. And Dustin Hoffman, who plays a reporter who used to be bigger, is on the scene, and he teams up with John Travolta to make his case. Now, you hear that.
It's Dog Day Afternoon.
It's Ace in the Hole. Like, there is such an easy way to make this movie, which is that John Travolta is an innocent that gets twisted and made into something that he doesn't want to be by people who want to make a media story out of it. And that's how it ends. But there's so like little bite to this movie. Like it doesn't want to take any chances or make anyone look negative.
Okay, well, what's so good about the other films is that they do feel, even though they're not always exactly specific, they're rooted in specificity.
Well, Kirk Douglas in Ace in the Hole is an asshole.
Right.
He has to be to do the things that he does. And this film is like, well, we don't want to make Dustin Hoffman too unlikable in this picture.
But it's like, the Zed is based in this actual, political incident, as is Missing. And then this film is a kind of generic, the media, they're all sensation seekers, like kind of screed.
But like none of the like media figures in this make any concrete decision. Everything kind of happens accidentally.
Well, first of all, none of the story makes any sense at all.
No.
So it's like Dustin Hoffman just happens to be at the Museum of Natural History, like doing this puff piece story, when John Travolta, as this security guard who's, getting laid off,
shows up with a shotgun and a bag full of dynamite.
Right. And he takes the whole place, the school group and Dustin Hoffman hostage. And Hoffman becomes this kind of like
go-between.
Yeah, between the outside world and the inside.
And you would think when you would hear this, Dustin Hoffman will make it more sensational than it actually is.
Hoffman's character is so badly conceived because I guess they wanted to make him likable still.
Yes, I think that's what it is.
Because he's not, he's too in control of the situation all the time.
He never feels stressed. There's never any tension in this movie.
And in fact, they create a whole other character played by Alan Alda to basically be the bad guy.
And he's not even that bad at the end of the day.
Right. But Alan Alda's like the other like rival news anchor who's like, I'm number one in the ratings. I'm gonna expand this hostage situation as long as I can.
I think another issue is that John Travolta doesn't want to be a bad guy either.
Yeah.
So you get an odd performance where he's nudging up against that simple Jack.
I mean, if you liked him in the...
Oh boy, what am I doing? Oh no, I'm in so much trouble.
If you liked him in The Fanatic, he's so bad here. It's insane. Because he takes the place hostage and then within 5 minutes he's like, gee whiz, I don't know what I did.
And like John Travolta doesn't or the script doesn't want to allow him to actually have a build up to where he would end up like this, where it's like, he's never done any crime, he's never done anything bad. So he picked up a shotgun and dynamite to go to his job?
Yeah, okay, there are so many like basic miscalculations in the story where what you think will happen happens.
Yes.
Dustin Hoffman interviews him on TV, and because, the man took away his job and he's worried about paying the rent and paying for his kids, well, he becomes a folk hero within hours because people are like, the
issue with this is it's a museum. It needed to be like a big business.
Well, yeah, he's holding kids hostage.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, he would not become a folk hero in a matter of hours. Like the reason Luigi Mangione is a folk hero is because he shot a health insurance executive.
Exactly. And it's like kids, it's in a museum. Now, if it was a money monster, for example, maybe there'd be a little bit more sympathy.
Yeah, that I thought of that one, yeah.
The classic George Clooney film we all love.
George Clooney. Oh, wait, that's a Jodie Foster directorial effort.
It is a Jodie Foster directorial effort.
I was going to pitch George Clooney directorial efforts.
No. And so like there's no bite, there's no angle on it. Where it's going, you can understand, but there's nothing like, backing it up to the point that like the inciting incident is John Travolta accidentally shoots a security guard. See, it would be more interesting if there was a conscious effort there and it wasn't an accident.
And there's also some really lame like hand-wringing stuff about the media. It's all sensation seeking and the viewers, they just want to see salacious stories. And it's like, I'm sorry, a security guard takes 20 kids hostage at the Natural History Museum.
That's a sensational story.
That would be a story, and it would be in the public interest.
They're just blowing it up.
It's not the darn Kardashians here, okay?
And I love how, sorry, I'm going to spoil Mad City.
Please.
Where it ends with John Travolta blowing himself up with dynamite and an overhead shot of Dustin Hoffman screaming like, "We killed him! We killed him!"
Ridiculous.
Bad, just on every level. This is such an old man out of touch movie that's not willing to take any chances, and it makes I love even the title Mad. What is the Mad City here?
We're all the Mad City for making this happen,
Yeah, because you don't get the...
We killed this security guard who took 20 kids hostage.
But it's like the security guard, the other one that John Travolta accidentally shoots, dies outside of anyone's influence. If he died because stuff that the media did, that would be one thing, but it isn't. It's just like, he's just in the hospital, he's being tended to, he dies because things goes wrong. Like, that's it. This is a script. I'm sure it had more bite when in the first draft, and they're just like, oh, well, we got, they can't do this, they can't do that, we can't.
And then you get the actors involved, and they probably have egos, and they're like, oh, I can't do that. That would be unlikable.
But as a filmmaker, Costa-Gavras continued to make films. He made one just a few years ago, and I've seen some of them, like The Axe from the mid-2000s is notable because this is based on the Donald E. Westlake, Richard Stark novel that Park Chan-wook just made into his new movie. Well, I don't remember what it's called.
Oh,
No Other Choice or something?
That's it.
And so the premise of this one is that there's a guy who lost his job, and he has a very specific kind of job that he does in the paper industry. If he kills all of the other applicants, he will get the job because there will be no other choice than to hire him. And it is a pretty fateful adaptation of the novel. Was I just Gavras crazy? Because I read the novel when the movie came out.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. I didn't realize you were such a Costa head.
And I remember really liking the novel and finding the movie fine. It's just very low energy. This is the accusation you can make to most of Gavras's late period career. Feels like TV movies. That he's tackling stuff, for example, Adults in the Room, which came out in 2019, about Greece going into bankruptcy, but it just feels kind of lifeless. Where did that verve that he has as a young filmmaker go? And, smarter people than me can write an analysis of where that kind of fall down happened, but I think I'm Gavras out at this point. I saw the big highlight ones, his early career, that's where all the juice is.
Well, I just want to also point out, and this is unrelated to anything, there is a 1979 film starring Dragon Lee called The Big Boss 2, which I think is also known as The Dragon Bruce Lee Part 2.
Where are you going with this?
There's a bit of music that plays during the opening credits, and
yes.
It turns out it's from Zed. And I thought it was such a great piece of music when I heard it in The Big Boss 2, and I was right.
Yep.
It came from Zed.
I mean, even missing, we didn't mention, it oddly has a Vangelis score.
Yeah.
Which is kind of at odds with the movie, but it works.
Yeah, I think so
too. It doesn't
too.
get too in your face.
Yeah.
And it kind of plays with the whole tone of the picture. So, Gavras, yours to discover. See Zed. See Shock Troops, because that one doesn't get watched very often. And, his early films. Avoid Mad City. There's nothing there for you. You think it'll be funny and ironic watch?
Listen, if you think you could tell our audience to not watch Mad City, 1997's forgotten, dog shit movie, you got nothing coming.
I mean, you got White Man's Burden right there if you want terrible John Travolta films. Ooh, there's a subject. Post-Pulp Fiction John Travolta.
Holy shit.
I mean, they're all bad, though. Right?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, not good.
Well, do we have any letters?
Yes, we do. As per usual, you can send us letters at importantcinemaclubpodcast@gmail.com. But before we do that, I've said this before, Patreon drive, we're doing it for a month. I'm not taking my foot off the brake.
Yeah, okay. It's Moneyvember.
Yes.
Can we underline this? It's Moneyvember.
Nope. It's Shocktober.
Yeah, it's Shocktober.
Shocktober, Moneyvember.
That's right.
Yes. So I have an actual goal that I'm aiming for, and I've done this through science.
Okay.
It would be the biggest jump in Patreon subscribers we have ever had. But, on Patreon, you can look and you see that big number and you're like, wow, look at all those people on Patreon that subscribe to me. That's just the number that are subscribed.
That doesn't
not
mean they're paid subscribers.
Yes,
yeah.
They're subscribed.
And you freeloaders, I'm not even going to say,
I mean, if you like the podcast, you will like Patreon. So I just split that number in two. So we're looking for 1,350 Patreon subscribers.
Okay, so I have two questions.
Yes.
What are we going to do to earn that? And what are we going to give them if we make the number?
If we make the number, do we do a marathon? Is there something that do we do a vote for a marathon and they get to pick which one we do?
Okay.
And what if we live streamed one of the movies? They can just see us sitting there, watch. You can be in the room with us.
What? A dream come true.
So I wanted to pitch a Steve Odenkirk, not just the some movies, all of his movies, but I'm going to leave it up to the viewer. They can decide. I'm also doing this. Things have been a little difficult for me lately since my son was born, in that my wife hasn't been working as much as she has because, we're splitting the, baby duties, but she takes a bulk of it. And there have been a lot of financial complications since then.
Well, and also Gold Ninja Video...
yes, has lost 80% of its business.
Because of tariff issues.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Trump.
Yes, not good. You can still order, but it's much more expensive now, unfortunately. So, that many Patreon subscribers joining, I say 1,350. Why don't we just go for 1,500? A round number.
1,500?
That's like the mega goal. But 1,350 is the reasonable goal. Like, people joining, if you listen to this podcast, it will genuinely make a difference at the end of the day. Like, it's not like, I got more spent. I have been forced that I cannot buy physical media anymore up until a certain point, just because of finances. We would love to, at a certain point, put our son Archie into a daycare of some kind. We currently can't afford it, which is why Emily has had to step away from some of the work that she does to be able to take care of our son. So, with all of this, just know that by subscribing, not only do you get all these great Patreon episodes, but you are actually helping me. And Will can buy, I don't know, a new TV.
It's Moneyvember, folks.
Yeah, Moneyvember. So a big marathon. Can you imagine if we had to watch all the Thumb movies, High Strung, Kung Pao, Barnyard, the original Party Animals?
What else can we do to earn some money for you, Justin?
What can we do to earn money for you? Patreon subscribers.
A garage sale.
Boy, we did one and we sold nothing, and then we just donated it all to Value Village.
You're just not on a good street for a garage sale.
Well, I'm on a dead-end street. It really doesn't work that way. If you can become a Patreon subscriber, that would be the best thing. $5 a month.
If you were a sexy woman and you put your Venmo page, I don't know, just saying.
I don't want to do it that way. Just Patreon's the best way. Hey, if you want, I don't know, Patreon, you can set whatever money you want, right, per month. If you wanted to do like $100, go for it.
Okay, listen, because I'm concerned about you. What if we had a new tier where people can buy like half an hour to hang out with us?
I mean, that's a lot.
I hate the idea.
Yeah, you hate.
To be clear,
yes,
but I'll do it for you.
Oh boy, what would the price of that be? What? Just no,
$500.
That's way too much money. No. I don't want to have to do that to you because I know that it would bother you. Maybe we can do something where you've tried on Michael and Us, and I know you didn't like it, watching movies with other people, right? So
it's hard to get the technology right, but we can figure that out.
Yeah,
we'll have a business meeting off mic.
But like Discord is a community, and I love hanging out there. Everybody's really nice there too. So like this is something I want to push as well. That like if you are like, oh, I don't need more episodes, you'll have a fun place to hang out, talk about movies, books, games, whatever is in there. Everyone's really nice. So if you join the Patreon, there's also the Discord, and that's patreon.com/theimportantcinemaclub. Don't worry, you'll hear a lot about this throughout the months of Shocktober, Moneyvember.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, do we have any letters? We should charge people to write letters.
Answer questions. I don't want to monetize everything. That would definitely not be good. So our first letter is from Magic. And it goes, hello, Justin and Will. I've been enjoying listening to your podcast a lot lately, and I've been particularly enjoying the episodes focused on comedy actors. A series of yours that I enjoy is the big screen comedian failure episodes. Is that like our only series that we return to regularly?
I think so.
I'm sure you have many more ideas of what you'd like to do with the little series.
No.
But I would like to add a suggestion. I'm sure there's one or two that we watch and we're like, this is actually good.
Yeah.
Dirty Work.
Yeah. I mean, I already knew I liked that.
I'd like to make my own suggestion. That is British comedians failing to conquer Hollywood.
Oh, great idea.
You, of course, have Rick Mayall in Drop Dead Fred, Norman Wisdom in The Night That They Raided Minsky's, a very early William Friedkin film, Michael Crawford in Condor Man, Lenny Henry in True Identity, Lee Evans in Mouse Hunt, Richard Ayoade in The Watch, and I'm sincerely sorry to mention this, Russell Brand in the 2011 Arthur remake.
And hey, Ricky Gervais.
Oh, who can forget Ghost Town?
Yeah.
The David Kep movie. Mordecai himself.
I didn't realize Lenny Henry had a big screen vehicle in the United States. That's
I didn't even know that Norman Wisdom was in The Night They Raided Minsky's.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, that's a great list of suggestions.
Have you seen Drop Dead Fred?
Of course I have. Yes.
Of course you have. Yeah, I actually only watched it within the last year, which is psycho behavior. But I watched it because I didn't realize Rick Mayall was in it.
Are you a fan of Rick Mayall? Where would you have seen him?
I've seen The New Statesman.
Okay, and we never watched like the young ones or anything.
I've never watched the young ones, but I loved him on The New Statesman. I mean, Drop Dead Fred, it's sort of Beetlejuice adjacent.
Beetlejuice adjacent? You mean Beetlejuice ripoff?
Yeah, it's not so hot, you know?
That director is interesting. He also did Highway to Hell, he's very Terry Gilliam light, is what that filmmaker does.
Actually, you know, there's good stuff in Drop Dead Fred, honestly.
And you watch it and you can understand why like people have such an affinity of it during that VHS era.
If I saw it when I was a kid, I would have liked it.
So that's a lot of great suggestions. And me and Will are planning Nothing But Laughs November, where we only do international comedian stars and try to we really want to challenge ourselves that like we should pick people we haven't seen any of their movies.
That's right. We're gonna try to find like why. I'll just give you one example. Terrence Hill and Bud Spencer.
Oh boy, yes. Well, I've seen some of their films. So.
All of Europe loves them.
Germany loves them.
I know, because I went to
the museum,
the Bud Spencer Museum in Berlin. Yeah,
the only thing is, I don't want to approach it and be like, why would anybody like these guys? That's not what I want to do.
Absolutely not. I come with respect and love.
So, and we'll go to that museum because that'll be our biggest listened to episode. Do you think there's a Bud Spencer Terrence Hill podcast? That sounds like something that exists somewhere.
Probably. Yeah, no, we should book a flight to Berlin and it'll be a tax write-off.
Yeah, of course. And just go to the museum you've already visited twice at this point.
I do a live podcast there.
Yeah, I'm sure they have a screening room of some kind that we can sit in.
I remember playing a Bud Spencer Terrence Hill video game there, like a PlayStation game.
I've played it. Isn't it Slappin' Beans?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's a Switch game. There's two of them.
I mean, awesome thing about the Bud Spencer Museum, there is a 6-foot statue of Terrence Hill as Super Fuzz at the entrance, which is insane.
So the thing about Bud Spencer and Terrence Hill is I'll always watch a couple of their movies or look on Letterboxd during my summer movie Mind Melter to be like, there's got to be a great one. But looking at those reviews, no one really loves them that much.
But I feel like those movies influenced so much comedy outside the United States. Like so many, in Asia, in Turkey, in all these countries, you'll see a movie it's like, oh, they're doing Terrence Hill and Bud Spencer.
Well, I remember a German listener, last time we brought this up, said that in Germany they dub in new jokes in the German dub, which may have led to them being as popular as they are. Okay, so Bud Spencer, Terrence Hill, we're locked in. That's what we're doing. That'll be one of the ones for Nothing But Laughs November.
We got more than we even have time for. So yeah, I'm excited.
We made a list and we're already way over. I think there's 8 on there. Yeah. So
all right, it can be an annual thing.
Yeah. Nothing But Laughs November. Yeah, let's do it.
Any other letters?
Yeah, we do. We have one here from Steven. Wanted to send you a quick thanks for furthering my interest in several topics, guys in gorilla suits, martial arts films, and Golden Age comedies, as well as introducing me to several new obsessions. Can you guess one of those obsessions are?
Well, it's going to be Costa-Gavras now, I think. Yeah,
it's Moturn Media.
Ah, yes.
I've been deep diving into the catalog of movies and songs and also wanted to get your takes on some things I've noticed in the Moturn tunnel. All right, we get to talk about Moturn a little bit.
Moturn Media. I'm not even going to explain what they are.
No, don't bother at this point. Do you think the films tend to get better as they go along? And if so, what do you think would be the reason for this?
I wouldn't necessarily say yes. Mm-hmm. Well, actually,
if Matt Farley is listening, let's be honest, he is. He would say they get better as they go along.
Well, I mean, I definitely think Magic Spot is a more mature work than Freaky Farley is. Mm-hmm. But, I think there's a very high standard of quality throughout that filmography. I mean, look, Adventures in Cuban Country, not all the elements are there yet. They haven't quite got the alchemy. But I still love that movie.
The letter writer has their own theory, which is that as a stable female cast members become a bigger part of the movies, the content gets better. For instance, Sharon Scalzo gets a bigger part on Freaky Farley. Matt's wife Elizabeth becomes a clear muse as time goes on. It feels hacky to say Matt and Charlie are just getting more mature with age, but that may also be the answer. Though mature still feels strange to apply to these people filled with childlike wonder of the world.
I do think Magic Spot, it is a movie made by people in early middle age, and you can feel that.
And I will say though that the early college films, they still have strong women roles in them.
That's true.
Especially stuff like Sammy, where there's the roles of people who are not actors, and Matt and Charlie are pulling in to be in the movies, and give those kind of magical performances that continue to this day.
I mean, so I'm not going to say that The Paperboy is as great a movie as Heard She Got Married, but when I watch The Paperboy, I am amazed by how the sensibility is just there, fully formed. The sense of humor. Yeah, I think they came out of the gate very strong.
Second question. How do you think Matt responds to such glowing praise for his movies? I emailed him and he seemed genuinely thankful for the support, but I always fear filmmakers going down that John Carpenter route of feeling like they get overpraised or ask the same question over and over. I need to be clear with you.
You don't need to worry.
There is no overpraising Matt Farley. He's going to take it all in. I don't mean it in a negative like a black hole. He can never get enough. And he appreciates all of it. He loves getting phone calls and emails. So if you want to, just do it. He will reply to you within 5 minutes. I can almost guarantee it. And number 3, who do you compare the main Moturn cast members to in broader film culture? For example, Kevin McGee, for some reason, reminds me of a cooler and possibly more talented Bruce Willis. Keep up the great work, and thanks for being the catalyst for my Moturn mania.
Well, I think the relationship that Matt Farley and Charlie Roxburgh have with someone like Kevin McGee reminds me of Simon Lang's relationship with Lee Kang-sheng, this guy who he found who wasn't an actor, and it's just carried along from movie to movie to movie, becoming more and more iconic in the process.
I think that may be the one thing that is missing from the Will's nodding, because he's nodding like Jack Nicholson.
You don't think the comparison is precise?
Well, I mean, there's romantic feelings there as well, isn't there?
Oh, yeah, there's a sexual dimension to it.
Do you think there's a sexual tension between Matt Farley and Kevin McGee? I'll leave it up to the viewer to decide.
I mean, in Simon Lang's case, it's an entirely one-sided one, famously, because Lee Kang-sheng is heterosexual.
Yes. And, well, because what is the name of the documentary? It's just like them in a room.
Afternoon,
where they're just chatting about it.
Yeah.
Matt Farley, I mean, doesn't he get compared a lot to people like Ron Livingston or something like that?
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, when I saw River Beast for the first time, I thought of like Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, Brendan. Yeah, that kind of everyman, but with those dashing good looks as well.
That's right.
I know Matt Farley's listening right now.
Yeah. I believe, and he made fun of me for this later. I think on that first episode, I said blandly handsome.
And I'm trying to think, like Tom Scalzo and like other main players in the films. The problem is, like, his family that are in the movie, there is no, you cannot, they are themselves.
I would compare them to your uncle, Well,
let's be honest, that his uncle maybe has a little bit of that Curly Joe Dorita energy,
what's his name? Jim McHugh.
Jim McHugh, yeah.
When we went to see Evil Puddle at Midnight Dankness, my buddy next to me was like, wow, everyone's gotten so much older. And then I said, yeah.
Did you look up a mirror?
So have we,
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I would argue that his parents have reached that level that, like, they're old and they've always kind of been old. So,
that's
like,
true.
They're on that. Are they standing up and dancing as much as they did in the early films? No. Mm-hmm. But they still bring that energy. And Kevin McGee, as we said last time, boy, he has challenged himself as an actor with every role.
Evil Puddle has one of the great McGee performances, for sure.
Do you... I know Matt and Charlie could answer this. Do you think McGee came with an angle of like, I want to do an accent, or are they challenging McGee?
I think, let me see, Brianna Ziegler did a good interview with the two of them where on her Substack, where I think, was it that they said they wanted him to do an accent that sounded scholarly? I think that was like...
And then he brings his perspective on it. Yeah. I mean, they love to challenge their actors, because wasn't it Tom Scalzo? They're like, you have to bring like a, intelligent person's accent in one of the movies.
That's right, yeah. Well, in Slingshot Cops, he plays a European.
Yeah, that's what it is, a European. Just do a European.
Not one country specified.
No. Just a European accent. Well, thank you very much for that letter, and keep your eyes peeled, because I believe that Evil Puddle is being released soon. To be
on Vimeo?
Yeah, that you can watch it whenever you want by grabbing it on Vimeo. All right, so next week... Oh, hey, what's that sound? The gates are opening. It's Shocktober.
I'm on to listen to your podcast.
Whoa! I like this new change to it.
Yeah.
I spend every month, 11 months leading up to Shocktober. Do I got some new sound effects? The answer is always no. We hit the same ones every single time.
We got to take some time. We got to listen to a Halloween sound effects CD and try to get
some
new ones.
Find something new.
Yeah.
Frankenstein.
It's alive.
Yeah, there you go. What is it, an Oscar montage? That's what it makes me think of. I am the Phantom of the Opera. Huh? No?
Yeah, that's his famous catchphrase, yeah.
We're moving into franchise territory right away.
Every year we talk about a franchise.
Mm-hmm. So I thought it would be fun, because I saw people in the Discord chatting about it. Why don't we do Final Destination? New movie just came out. Did you see the new one?
No.
Huge hit.
I think
in comparison to...
I've seen some of them over the years, but I haven't really followed the franchise religiously.
Mm-hmm. So we will be diving into, I believe it's a 6-movie franchise at this point. Mm-hmm. I don't expect Will to watch all of them. I do expect you to watch 1, 2, 6. That's a good...
I'll get another one in there too, I think. And you'll watch all of them.
I'll watch all of them, yes. The favorites are 1, 2, and 5, and people really like 6 as well. Mm-hmm. Now, I really liked the series when it came out, but now I'm an old man, and I didn't see 6. Everything people said about it, I was like, sounds a little mean-spirited to me.
Oh.
I know.
What, this series that's all about people being killed in elaborate ways is mean-spirited?
Listen, do I know all the ins and outs up until the 3rd movie? Of course. Do I have the DVD where it's choose your own death for the 3rd one? I do, like a choose your own adventure. It's weird, but like after the 3rd one, I was just like, not for me. Didn't see the 4th one, didn't see the 5th one, and didn't see the 6th one. But now I'm going to watch them all. We're going to get into this whole universe, and we will decide which one is the best.
I can't wait.
So until then, my name's Justin Decloux.
I'm Will Sloan.
Thanks for listening. Just a reminder, I will be hosting a 24-hour horror movie Mind Melter on October 11th, starting at 11 a.m. at secretcinematech.com. It is a grab bag of horror movies from across the world. Basically, I try to hunt down stuff that no one has ever seen before and present it to you, a unsuspecting audience. I always have a couple of things that I work really hard to get up there that you can't see anywhere else. So I hope that you'll join us for 1, 2, maybe even the whole marathon if you are incredibly dedicated. secretcinematech.com, October 11th, the 24-hour horror movie Mind Melter. I would like to thank some of our new patrons who include Messhack, Alexander Roth, Leaves on the Line, G.A. Shockey, Kevin McCandless, Corey J. Brewer, George Miller, Vincent Franks, Robert Moeller, Caleb Clements, and James M. McLeod. Thank you very much for all becoming patrons. We would not keep doing this without you.
You were mentioning physical media. You were also mentioning money troubles. Mm-hmm. Now, listen, I've got some credit card debt I should be paying off.
Yes, but what do you need to get?
Yeah, so I went to Bay Street Video.
Okay, yep.
And I love Bay Street Video.
Love it.
And if anyone from Bay Street Video is listening to this podcast, you should know that your Instagram posts, where you, every Tuesday, good. I look forward to it every week.
I believe that's Brendan Welton who does that.
Great guy.
Yeah, that you can look on the Instagram, even if you do not live in Toronto, great way to know what's coming out that week on Blu-ray.
So whenever it drops, I open my phone on Instagram. I'm like, oh, I can't wait. Now the first 2 slides are always like whatever the big releases are.
And then you got to go through like the third one.
And then I go to the third one where it's the ones that they aren't expecting to sell many copies of. And that's where I live. Like, this is how I got this stupid credit card debt. It's ridiculous. And I am going to pay it off.
The thing about these Blu-rays is that, like, you're not going to find it in another place. Especially, I think that I'm at the point where I'm like, I don't need a journalist commentary on something.
That's
like,
true.
Unless it's someone that I know, that is not an appealing enough thing for me. Now, if you get, like, old wizened filmmakers to talk about their films, then I'm there. I'm like, yes, please.
Well, I'm scaling back my consumption now where I have to really want it if I buy it. Which people are listening to that and saying, are you insane?
Because what you were about to say that you purchased that you really wanted?
Well, yeah, I guess that's true. But also, like, there have been times in the past where it's like, oh, I'll buy that because I'll watch it eventually.
But you're never going to watch. Yeah. Like, I've said this before, but my friend Duncan is like, oh, what did you think of this movie? And I was like, I haven't watched it. I was like, you buy things without watching them?
or like you'll get it because it's like, oh, I should have this.
Yes.
This is the kind of thing I should have.
And there is that feeling with physical media, which is probably actually not that true of if I don't get it now, I'm never going to get it.
Which is ridiculous.
It's just going to go away. And it's like, if you really wanted it, you'll be able to find it again.
So anyway, something came out this week that I really did want, which was the Buster Keaton show. The show that Keaton had in the late 1940s that revived his career. Beautifully remastered on a new Blu-ray with a bunch of extras. So I got that. And I saw they also put out some Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis movies, which on bare bones editions.
Oh, no, Will, no. And wait, how expensive were they?
$30.
Okay, that's not that bad.
So there were 2.
Yeah.
There was 3 Ring Circus, which I know to be bad. And there was Partners, which I remember being pretty good as far as they go.
So you're not approaching it from a completionist perspective. You're like, I need them all.
Here's the thing. I'm training myself to not approach it from a completionist perspective. Because that's sick, the completionism.
I think so too.
Where it's like you could be like, well, I want Partners, but if I don't get 3 Ring Circus,
no one cares.
I have to kill myself.
Yeah, I think that I really squeezed that out of me, which was never really part of my life, but when they started like Vinegar Syndrome Archives, I was like, I might as well just get all of these as they come out. I'll put them on the shelf. It looks nice. Then I keep buying them and I'm like, I do not like this movie. Why am I buying it? Just because it's coming out from this?
I know. That's the thing. That's how they get you. A brand that you like. I'm kind of like this with, Something Weird Video. Now, I do like those movies.
Yeah, I think that's a difference. And Golden Ninja Video, me and Will are almost always... This is the thing, is that like, I will get something if the personality behind it is someone I really like. David Callett commentary.
Oh, yeah.
David Decloux. Now, they are getting to that point where I like picked up the Blu-ray of The Rage Carrie 2, the Vinegar Syndrome put out. I'm like, there's a David Decloux commentary on this. I cannot. $65?
Oh, yeah.
I can't do this. And I was like, oh, well, I'm not buying them anyway, so it's not going to happen.
That's healthy that you didn't get that.
Yes. The only way I'm going to hear that commentary is if I buy that Blu-ray at some point in time.
So I have at my home, and this is really sick. This isn't the sick part, though.
Yeah, okay. You're building up to it.
I have at my home, a shelf that's my Jackie Chan shelf. And it's got... and I have it in chronological order, and I love looking at it.
Yes,
I love seeing these movies.
Okay, wait. Let me take a step back. You're not buying those 4Ks that are coming out, are you?
No.
Okay.
No. Because the movies don't look that great.
No, they don't. And they're not going to look that much better in 4K.
That's right. But did I think about it?
I know you did. Did you message me about it and I had to talk you off the ledge?
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
it's because they put out a 4K of Operation Condor.
Yes. And I was like, you don't even like that movie that much, Will.
Well, and you know what I did? I watched Operation Condor.
That's a good thing to
The
do.
Blu-ray that I've had on my shelf for 4 years.
Which is a gigantic box set already.
Yeah, and I watched it and it's like, okay, it's got good stuff in it, but a lot of dross. Don't need it in 4K.
That's a great thing to do, except for Golden Ninja Video. Never watch the movie before you get it on Golden Ninja Video. Is that like if you watch the film, you'll be like, okay, I've seen it now. Unless you have a burning like, do I need a better version of it, or are there special features? And let's be honest, on the Jackie Chan stuff, there's not going to be anything revelatory on there.
So I was at BMV and I was looking at the used Blu-rays and I see Robin B. Hood.
Oh yeah, you messaged me about it.
Yeah. I messaged Justin about all these decisions.
Yeah.
Robin B. Hood, which is Jackie Chan's 2006 film. It's not a good movie.
A movie we do not like. Did we do a Patreon episode on it?
No, we watched it together early in the run of the podcast.
We're gonna watch it again.
We should, but it's a kind of like 3 Men and a Baby kung fu movie with Jackie Chan from 2006. It's one of the last Jackie Chan movies to have really good action scenes. And so I'm still counting it in the canon.
Yes.
And I'm looking at the Blu-ray and I'm like, I only have this on DVD.
I think my exact words were, this is a film that should only exist on DVD.
Yeah.
And it's not even like, oh, there's so many new special features. You have the 2-disc Dragon Dynasty edition. I know. Was it the Dragon Dynasty Blu-ray that was there? Or is there a new release?
No, it was the Dragon Dynasty Blu-ray. Yeah. So I didn't get it.
Okay. So you showed restraint there.
But I thought about it.
You did. Enough to text me.
Well, I texted you after I decided not to get it.
Okay.
And really, I just wanted validation from you to be like, good job.
Yes, good job. You don't need it. All right, going back to Bay Street. You're looking at these two Dean
So
Martins
anyway, I got Partners.
Yes.
And I thought...
You like Partners?
I like it enough.
Okay. The thing about these movies is, if there was commentary with like Leonard Maltin or someone you knew, you would have bought those instantly. You've been like, all right, I need these.
That's right.
But there isn't. It's kind of
But then I start budgeting in my head. It's like, okay, I can get Partners or I can get a pizza tonight. It's like, all right, I'll get Partners. That's how I rationalize it to myself. Yeah.
You're like, oh, I'll be healthier too.
Or I could just save money.
You could do that too for retirement or something like that. That'd be nice, right?
Is it okay that I'm talking about this in front of you now, given the impassioned Money Member?
That is a subtitle. Or is it like kind of like Final Destination Bloodline? Yes, it's absolutely. What are you looking forward to? Because I've been looking at lists recently, and maybe it's just my state of mind. Nothing's jumping out at me. Like back in the day, there would be something every week that I'm like, I need this so bad.
I know. I haven't really been paying attention to what's coming out soon. I'm just living in the moment, waiting for things to come out.
And so, like, you can look at this is what you should do, Will. Next time you're in Bay Street, buying something that you need, like the Buster Keaton show. If you see the movie on the shelf, go like, I'll go home and watch this. And then will I come and buy it afterwards? The answer will always be no. Like there's no contest.
Yeah.
Short of it being like a new remaster or something like that. But
anyway, I'll probably watch Partners later tonight and I'll report back on if it was a wise purchase.
The issue you stumble into is box sets. Where you have box sets of like 10 movies and I'm like, I've watched 2 on that.
I don't know. I'm looking at your shelf and there's some good box sets here. You wouldn't buy Halloween, the complete collection again?
Yes, like if I didn't have it, yeah, I mean that's one that I really like. Tons of special features, tons of great stuff. Oh look, I think I have the complete Universal horror collections that they had. I haven't watched all those films. I'm looking at the ones that I haven't really touched. You know what? I don't think I've touched that. It's a producer. Is it Sam Sherman? Creature with the Adam Brain, the werewolf, zombies, and Mortal?
Yeah, that one that's the kind of like Cold War science fiction movies collection, yeah.
But yeah, if you look...
Did I get that? I can't remember.
Yeah, if I had to go through it now, like I feel like I've gone through most of the box sets that I'm never... Like the Forgotten Giallos, they're still sitting in a box trying to sell them or get them out for some money because I'm never going to watch those again.
They're forgotten for a reason.
And like, as I once told Will, I was like, Will, if you look at your shelf and wonder like, do I just ironically own this? Do you need it? And I think your response was like, I can't work that way.
I don't know what's ironic anymore.